Greetings everyone, Nathan Nerdark here from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, and with me I have these nerds.
I'm Ted.
And Eric's Dave.
And today we're bringing back Your Fear of the Dark with Volo's Guide.
Jump down the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter. Learn how to game with us as well as get weekly RPG tips.
Alright, so we're diving into the Dubkata or the Dark Crow.
Well, that was the guy that was exiled.
Oh,
that's not actually
the beginning of Darklings.
Yeah, the beginning of Darklings is not actually the ring. You can find these in Volo's Guide to Monsters on page
134.
Oh, with this our latest edition of Dungeons and Dragons Monsters, we only get a page, but I feel like they pack a decent amount into these monsters. They're low CR, and I feel like for low CR monsters, these are going to be a nightmare for a low level.
They're
party.
scary low.
These guys got a lot of skills, and if used properly, could utterly devastate a party.
The one thing is they basically have a sneak attack, so if they have advantage, they get. It's not sneak attack. It's like sneak attack.
Right.
Whenever they have advantage on attack, they do bonus damage.
Right. An extra 2 die 6.
They happen to be
Right.
D6s.
So it's and they're not limited to how often they can do this per round.
Well,
They only get one attack.
they only get one attack. So
Haste those guys. Haste them.
But there's also that's the Darkling, but there's also the
you get the Darkling Elder, which a Darkling can undergo a transformation, and if it's successful, they become an Elder.
what happens if it doesn't work?
They die.
Oh, oops.
Well,
It looks worth it, because seeing those two pictures, I would definitely go for the Darkling Elder.
So the Darklings are from previous editions. I don't remember if it was Monster Manual 2 or if it was in Fiendom Folio. I always want to say everything's from Fiendom Folio, especially if it's horrible, but I'm not positive with these guys. These might have been Monster Manual 2. I feel like they've changed up the lore a bit. They're Dark Fey now. Before, I believe they were shadow creatures. And they have a very cool backstory in essentially the head of the house was a Fey that crossed the Summer Lady, and so she banished them and cursed them for his whole line.
I like the lore that they don't want light to touch their skin because it ages them.
Well, no, it doesn't age them; they absorb it, and it does, which does cause an aging effect. So much so that they just take in all of the light that they've ever been exposed to. So, which leads to one of their abilities.
When they die,
they explode.
When the Darkling dies, non-magical light flashes out from it in a 10-foot radius. Its body, as its body and possessions, other than metal or magic objects, burn to ash. Any creature in that area and able to see the bright light must succeed on a DC 10 con save or be blinded until the end of the creature's next turn.
So it's like a mini sun for just a split second.
Yeah, so there's a good, and so you off the one standing next to you, you get blinded, and then the other ones gack you with advantage for extra damage. Now the Darkling Elder actually explodes for damage as well.
Right.
So they're a little more brutal
because they've been around longer. Therefore, the light is that much more.
Yes.
And they're bigger creatures.
Because the other ones are small. Those guys are medium. And they're really freaky looking too. The small ones.
Yes.
They have cloven hooves, and they kind of look like warped halflings.
I was gonna say they look like demented goblins.
Demented goblins. Okay, I can go with that.
More demented goblins.
You can definitely go with that.
Satyr Goblin Halfling mashup.
Hobbises. They look like Golem with hooves. The Elder Darklings look more like kind of like dudes. In dark clothes.
So, if you had a Darkling Elder, which is a challenge 2, and a handful of Darklings with a challenge half, you could decimate a party.
Yeah. And the other thing that they all have blind sight, so they don't need light to see, and then the Darkling Elders can create darkness. They can only do it once. But once is enough to to blanket a battlefield and create some havoc. When they explode, it causes more damage, and it also says these guys kind of operate as thieves and assassins. But not only that, they also have a love of beauty, so they could also be like this cool thieves guild that goes around stealing art objects. Because they could be like collectors.
Right.
They don't even sell it; they just keep them.
Just a giant pile.
Because they want to possess it, despite their backstory, or despite them being cursed, they still have that love of beauty, and they're willing to sacrifice every once in a while lighting a candle just to see it, see the reflections of the gem, or see the colors it's in a piece of artwork.
Even though this may cause them to explode at some point. What happened to Bob? He was admiring that gem.
So, being a low-level monster, you can be able to use them, but given their tactics, you can use them for a longer period of time. As you said, it would be very useful to use them in a thieves guild. You can also make them be like a crack team of assassins.
Yes. Thieves Guild, Assassins Guild. These guys have minions stamped all over them.
And there's nothing to say you couldn't jack up some of the power and add on, these abilities to another NPC template.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
like taking a thug or something.
Take a thug, take a gladiator, take a veteran. Assassin.
Yeah, I don't remember if Volo's guide has the list of the monster races the way the DMG does or not.
Right.
But you could absolutely you could map one of these guys onto one of the NPCs, which is cool, and also, or one of the NPCs in the back of this book, because there's a bunch of those as well.
I haven't gotten that far yet. This is your copy. Why is that here?
Blackguard combo?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Elder Blackguard would be a nice combination. Or these could actually be introduced into your game as NPCs that the players have to deal with, like maybe to get information from, or maybe some of them are working as basically just that, information brokers, and you gotta set up clandestine meeting.
Imagine, all right, all you're doing is talking to a voice because part of the meeting requirements is darkness.
Yeah, it's gotta be dark.
You're never gonna see who you're dealing with, and if the DM sets the scene properly, you could really be on the edge of your seat the entire time, because you don't know what's being said. There could be insert a couple sound things here and there, you hear footfalls, or a rock goes skidding by your side. You're not certain if someone's actually creeping up on you or whether it's just from a distance.
Or the idea that you're meeting with the boss of these guys, right? And you just get this flittering of noise and movement from time to time around you, but you never actually see anything.
Right.
Because one of the things we did mention, I don't know if off camera, I don't know if we mentioned it on camera, is how skilled a monster they are for being a low level CR.
So at a challenge half, they have acrobatics 5, deception 2, perception 5, stealth 7. And then once you actually get to the Elder, the acrobatics are the same. Deception goes up by 1 to a 3. Perception goes up to a 6. And stealth is still at a 7.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, I don't think I've seen that many. You don't see that many high passive perceptions in the monster manual. And there you got 15s and 16s. And this is a relatively low-level monster, so I find that kind of interesting too, because you're going to be using them against lower level party, so those stealth characters might not be able to get off their stealth as easily as they're used to.
So it's cool to see that kind of switch, because you're not, as you said, you're not used to seeing it, regardless of the level, and that's a challenge 2 monster with 4 skill proficiencies. You don't see that. No.
So they would make great, especially the elders would make great lookouts or guards, but not the guard that's going to get in your face and try and physically stop you. He's going to be the guard that hides and is going to see you coming, and then alerts the rest of the hideout
as he slinks off to get more. So once you've passed through, they're now watching you and sneaking behind you, setting up the ambush at the most inopportune moment for you.
Yes, and the Elder Darklings hit hard. They're using a short sword. They get 2 attacks, and their bonus damage is 3d6 instead of 2d6.
Yes.
If
they have advantage, they're essentially swinging for 4d6 plus 3.
Yeah, and I see these guys almost moving in like a squad of Drow.
Yeah,
it kind of gives that feel. I like these guys too, because you know what else they kind of make me think of, and the feel they give me is, I don't know why, but I think of Dark City when I think of these guys. Granted, Dark City it's not really a fantasy mythology or anything, but for some reason, I was like, yeah, Dark City, these are the guys in the coats and stuff. I think of these guys.
I can totally see it. So what do you guys think? Have you used Darklings in your game? Have you checked out the Volo's guide yet? Put your comments down below while you're at it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Remember, the link to Volo's guides in the description below.
And don't forget to patronize us in a way over on Patreon.
So until next time, stay nerdy.